First gear, cover the rear brake, preload, clutch, foot up. Friction brake, friction brake, friction brake, smooth stop. So also when you're coming to a stop today, guys, now I want your foot coming down smoothly. If your foot ever comes down like this, the bike was falling, right? And it's falling because you don't have enough power on the rear wheel, okay? We're gonna talk about stopping, right? I'm gonna get to that. But what I'm about to show you is, I'm gonna make some circles on this motorcycle. I'm gonna open my clutch up to a stage 2, and I'm gonna stay in the stage 2 in that circle. I'm just gonna be applying light pressure to my rear brake. I'm not gonna stab at the brake. I'm gonna find a sufficient amount of pressure and just stay there. The problem is when people start doing slow speed stuff, when you get nervous, they start changing things. I watch somebody approaching a U-turn, I'm like, oh good, speed's perfect, everything's perfect. And then as soon as they turn, they start changing stuff. And that's what messes it up, right? Jeff! So, I'm gonna make that turn, straight up. And then I'm gonna go into a lean. In order for me to lean, what do I need to add, Rich? Speed. So, I'm not gonna open the clutch anymore. I'm gonna stay in 2. I'm just gonna come off the rear brake a little bit. Coming off the brake is gonna give me the speed I need. Then when I wanna go back straight up, I'm just gonna apply some more pressure. Come back straight. And then I'm gonna come to a smooth stop right in front of you guys. And I'm gonna be in the friction zone on the rear brake until I put my foot down. Then I'm gonna put my clutch in. And that's the problem. When people come to a stop, most people at the end of the stop, well, first let me say, most people are gonna stay in speed as long as possible. Because as long as the bike has speed, you don't have any responsibility. You don't have to be the boss of the motorcycle. By the way, that's the reason why the channel is called this. Because 10 miles per hour or less, it's all on you, right? Gotta be the boss. And the boss of anything has a high level of responsibility. So, and that's you. And, or, when they get to the end of the stop, as soon as they feel the bike falling, that in their mind equals, that's time to stop. 2 feet out, front brake, abrupt stop. But we'll talk about the stopping. First, I just want to show you this. I'm going to keep my clutch right where it is. Oh, you know what? Here's the example right here. What am I going to do? I don't have to lean it here, though. All right, first gear. Cover the rear brake. Let me say this to you guys. This is a perfect example. So in this in this instance, I'm gonna make a turn with a human being right here, right? Sometimes when I'm gonna make a turn like that, I don't want to take any chances. So I'm not gonna just be covering the rear brake. Right from the start, I'm gonna be applying pressure to it. I'm gonna open the clutch up enough so that the bike stands up. I don't want it to lean. I'm opening up enough rear brake. I'm correcting it right from the start. And then you might even see the bike do this. That's fine, okay? I'm trying to let you know what I'm doing in this situation. If I have more room, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to do that. First gear, cover the rear brake, do it every time. Preload, I'm gonna start with the handlebars turn though. Preload. As soon as the bike starts to move, foot up. Rear brake, all right. All right, this is a good spot in the friction zone. I'm gonna stay right here. Just using the rear brake. Clutch, same spot. Throttle, steady. Just using the rear brake. Now if I want to lean, just come off the brake. A little bit. I'm still dragging it. If I want to go back straight up, pressure. I can come to a stop. I'm still in the friction zone. Right? All right. Come off the brake. Now it's all clutch. Now I got to manipulate the clutch. But if I find a good spot, I'm just going to keep it here. This is working. Too much speed, I don't like it. Rear brake, just a little. Straighten out. Friction brake, friction brake, friction brake. Now I pull the clutch in. Right there, if I pull the clutch in just a second too early, the bike's going to start falling. It's the only thing keeping the bike up. So if I take it away, of course it's going to fall. And keep this in mind. This bike at slow speeds always wants to fall. It's on 2 wheels. The slower it goes, the more it wants to fall, right? This is just, you know, it is what it is. It's gravity. So the slowest this bike is ever going to go is the beginning of a start and the end of a stop. That's why people don't like starting, and that's why you'll see people's feet out until the bike speed goes up, then they pick their feet up. No, we're not doing that today, right? So let's talk about the clutch. What I want you guys to do, remember we talked about sufficient power, and here's why that word's important. If I open up my clutch, a lot of people start from the grip. I don't want you to start from the grip today. So step number 4 for you is going to be slowly open the clutch until you feel the bike entering stage 1. As soon as you feel that, pull it right before it. So now, instead of your clutch being all the way to the grip, you're not in the friction zone, you're right before stage 1. So when you need that power, boom, it's right there. You don't have to search for it. So what happens is, if somebody goes to do something and they feel fallen, even if they know, open up the clutch. When they're opening up the clutch to find the power, by the time they get to stage 1, the bike is leaned over too much. So now that power is not sufficient. It's going to keep falling. So that's why anytime you feel something today, I need you to do something as soon as you feel it. And what I'm talking about, the feeling is falling. As soon as you feel it, address it. And address it with the clutch. And you don't have to do anything crazy, but keep this in mind too. Even if you open it quicker than you thought you wanted to, doesn't matter. The quicker you open it, you can close it. And that's why we're covering the rear brake, to correct what you did. Okay? So I want you to be in control. What's the 3 C's of Preloader Nation page? Confidence, control, and consistency. Right? Confidence is always first because everything follows that. Okay? So, like I said, slowly open it till you feel the bike move a little bit, then pull it right before it. Now when you need that power, it's there. As soon as I feel it, clutch. Clutch. And so now here's the other thing. Sometimes you can open it, and sometimes people open it and they open it and keep it there. Now it's too much. So that's where open close comes from. That's what I was talking to you guys about. Open close is referring to the clutch. You're going to be doing open close all day. It's always relevant. Trust and believe is everybody familiar with trust? Who's not familiar with trust and believe? You're not. Okay. You will be. Trust and believe is always relevant, and open close is always relevant, right? Because sometimes you're giving power, taking away. Giving, taking away. It's give and take out here. Okay? All right. Any questions about any of that? So, stopping smoothly. When you stop these motorcycles, because the first exercise we're going to be doing are smooth, short starts and stops between these cones, 15 feet apart. And this is usually what I start every private lesson with. But sometimes I can't start with that because it's too much for people. Because you need to get comfortable riding this bike very slowly and understanding that it's not going to drop as long as you provide the power that's keeping it up. It's just that simple. Okay? When I'm bringing that bike to a stop, remember, if I'm coming to a stop out there in the real world, pull the clutch all the way in because I don't need the power. And I let the bike coast. Downshift, clutch is still in. Take it all the way down to first gear. And I'm going to let it coast until I get to the end of that stop. I might not ever need to go back into the friction zone. So, oh, Paige, I'm coming to you again. I'm sorry. How relevant is your balance to keep the bike up at slow speeds? 100's a lot, 50's in the middle, 0's none. Your balance to keep the bike upright at slow speeds. 100. 0? 0? 100? Okay. 100? 0? 0? All right. 50. Okay, 0 is the correct answer, right? We always have to get that information out because there's a lot of misinformation out there. When people tell me I can't balance my bike, what keeps the motorcycle up at slow speeds? So how is our balance relevant, right? How many times have you seen somebody fall off the bike? If there's still power on that bike and it touches the ground, it'll pick right back up. It doesn't need us, right? It doesn't need us with power, sufficient power on that rear wheel. The motorcycle's balance is relevant, and sometimes it's going to work out. I can tell the difference whether the balance worked out or if it was you. So if I'm coming to the end of that stop, I'm always standing by waiting for the report. The report is from my brain, and the report is I feel falling. So because I know I'm coming to the stop, as soon as my handlebars start to go like this, I preload my throttle. You're always going to preload first. 3 comes before 4. And then I go into stage 1. Now stage one, once it straightens me out a little bit, boom, if that's working, I'm gonna stay there. But keep in mind, the slower you go, the more it wants to fall. So one might not work anymore. It's no longer sufficient. Stage two. But the whole time I'm braking. The braking is progressive. The problem is I'll tell somebody stop here and they'll wait till they get there to brake. And that's why it's like this, right? Brake, 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 brake. Friction zone, listen to it, brake, 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 brake. And what I do sometimes is right at the end of that stop, I just do this to my clutch. Just a little open and brake at the same time. Because I want my bike to stop straight up. I don't want to be leaning at all. Because if I'm leaning, it was falling. Now again, listen, it's not going to always work out that way, and that's fine. We're still on two wheels. But I want you to be annoyed when you can't stop smoothly. That's what I want at some point, because I do realize that once you do it, you always want to do it. You can feel it. It's like, oh my God, because it's total control. You have total control of that motorcycle. Taking off is the same way. Open up my clutch nice and smooth. Now, if the balance and everything worked out, stage one is fine. I don't have to do anything else. But just in case I don't have enough space, that's where open close comes in. So in this exercise, or something close, every now and then I'll ride my motorcycle. I think it happened actually I did a video where I pulled out my garage and then I squeezed between my two cars and I had to stop because my clutch hit the handle, so I pulled my clutch in. So now I'm between my two cars and I have to start moving. In that kind of situation, I can't afford for my handlebars when I start to go like this because I'm gonna hit one of my cars. So in that case, I gotta do an open close. Not just open, because that's what most people do. When in doubt, throttle out. It sounds nice, but you know, it's not gonna always work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open close. If I open up to a 2, remember, what does it want to do with power? Go straight. I need it to go straight, so that's all that is, but I don't need to stay there. Open close. So in that case, I told you I don't want to see the suspension moving, but if you do an open close, yes, but it should go up and come right back down. Open close, rear brake. Okay? Questions? All right.
When you say close, it doesn't mean close. It means just go back to 1.
Now she said, when you say close, it doesn't mean close. It means go back to 1. Sometimes. So the answer to a lot of the things we're doing out here, guys, is it depends. If the open, for instance, my driveway is on a downhill. So my open, I didn't need to be in 1. I had enough momentum at that point where I was fine. No, but it's no issue being in 1 either, right? Actually, most of the time you are going to be 2 to 1. So if you hear me say 2 to 1, I'm telling you 2 to 1. When we do the slow ride, I'm going to say 2 to 0 or 1 to 0, right? We'll talk about that when we get to it.